thanks for checking out this new video. What I'm going to be doing here is comparing two 1/700 scale Olympic class liner kits. The Olympic class is most known for being the class that included the Titanic, as well as her sister ships Olympic and Britannic. Now what I'm going to do is take a look at Academy's 1/700 scale Titanic and Revell's 1/700 scale Olympic. Now, the Olympic kit by Revell is essentially a reboxing of their Titanic kit with very few cosmetic changes, which I will make note of. Now, that's a problem in and of itself because there were more significant changes than Revell included in their mold, but that'll be for another review of just the Olympic kit on its own merits. So what I'll do now is dive in and take a look at some of the more significant similarities and differences between the two kits, and it may help you decide if you are going to build a 1/700 scale Titanic or Olympic, which direction to head in. So let's take a look at some features that these kits have. Okay, before we begin, just a note, throughout this video I'm going to have Academy's offering on top and Revell's offerings underneath it so that we can maintain some kind of comparison consistency as we look at the different features of the two kits. I want to go ahead and start with the hull, and they are quite different. Academy's is a one-piece hull with the superstructure already attached. Now, it just snaps on. It's kind of a neat feature. It adds some rigidity to the hull, but it's not entirely necessary, I guess. But you have that. And then Revell's hull is two-piece, split down the keel. Now, this is the only sprue where you're going to get real differences between their Titanic and Olympic kits. What Revell has done is they have made the A-deck windows more accurate to Olympic as opposed to those on Titanic. As you can see, Titanic's A-deck was half enclosed and then halfway opened up. Also, Revell's B-deck promenade windows, they're a little bit more regularly spaced than those on Titanic, and that is also more accurate. Now, the window counts, the window layouts on both ships is not true to the prototypes, but they're representative enough, I guess. Academy's windows here on the aft B-deck promenade they're a little bit overspaced. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Same thing on the forward B-deck. Whereas, at least in relation to the hull, on Revell, the windows are spaced more accurately. Now, on Revell's Titanic, you're going to get the correct window shapes and styles, so you're not going to see exactly this open A-deck promenade and this elongated B-deck promenade on their Titanic kit. Other than that, going forward, these are the same kits, their Olympic and their Titanic. Size-wise, Revell is spot on. If you're going to scale out Titanic's 882 feet 9 inches into 1/700 scale, you get 15.13 inches. Revell is 15.125. Academy, however, is clocking in at 15 even, so it's 7 scale feet short. As far as the ship's beam of 92 feet, Revell is again right where it needs to be. That's a 1.58 inches in 700 scale, and Revell comes to 1.55. Academy is 1.5 even, so it is 5 scale feet narrower than it needs to be. If we're being, as precise as possible, sure, Revell's is about 1 scale foot too short and a few inches too narrow in the beam, but I don't know, that's kind of irrelevant when you get that close, in my opinion. So, if we're looking at just the hull between the two, I'm going to go ahead and give Revell a few finer points. Oh, also to note, the shell plating layout is, I don't know what this is on Academy. It's very even, it's very regular, it's almost grid-like. That is not the way Titanic's plating was actually laid out. I don't know if you can see this. It's much more nuanced on the Revell kit, much more accurate. It's a little bit overscale as far as its size, so you could certainly use a sanding, but the actual layout of the shell plating is much closer to what it needs to be. All right, let's go on to the next part of the kit. All right, so taking a look now at deck details and features. First, more strikingly, you can see that Revell's Titanic has a full B-deck with the ship's C-deck well decks as one piece. Whereas Academy's kit, it's much more broken up. You have your forecastle deck, your poop deck, and then B deck, which is actually semi-included inside this sort of tower assembly. There is no actual B deck there. what decking you have is included on your forecastle and your poop deck. This is not accurate for Titanic. Titanic's B deck was mostly enclosed. It was open a little bit fore and aft, and then it was staterooms and private promenades and cafe, etc. So it's not accurate. It's more accurate on Academy's layout. That said, let me flip this over because their sprues are designed funny. While the aft B deck should have walls enclosing it off here and here, that's not included on Academy. So B deck just sort of starts and then it disappears. So if you were looking down the promenade enclosure, you would see a drop off. So that would need to be fixed. So really neither kit got B deck right. As far as the actual deck details, the planking is much finer on Revell. Let me see if that'll focus. Whereas on Academy's kit, the planking is much more exaggerated. Now that said, I always will preach the goodness of aftermarket wood decks, so that won't really matter if you have a wood deck, but if you're going to try to use the kit's standard deck, Revell's is just, it looks much nicer, it's more accurate. Let's see, the actual details on the forecastle, you can see here on Academy, they're a little bit overscale, winches and things of that sort that go along the base of the mast. Whereas on Revell, I might edit that out, I might not, it's kind of funny. But on Revell you can see the details are a bit more nuanced. Neither kit got right this, there's an enclosure, or rather a little inset here at the aft end of the forecastle where the wall sort of cut in for a little bit and then went back out. For whatever reason, kits don't seem to get that right. I don't know why. So, neither kit has that. So that's wrong on both counts. Looking at the aft section of the ship and the poop deck, again, the detail is much finer on Revell. On Academy, there are these bases for vents that were included, even though if you go through the instructions, you never have actual vent funnels added. And there were no vents here on the aft well deck. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that is completely inaccurate. If you're looking at top decks, let's look at the boat deck. They're very similar as far as size goes. The deck houses are shaped a little bit differently, but we'll talk about the deck houses separately in a minute. And just the way that they're designed, you can see that there's much more sub-assembly on the Revell kit as opposed to the Academy. And I think that has to do with the intended audience. The Academy kit, I think, is designed for slightly more younger modelers. And then lastly, we'll take a look at A-Deck. This is the A-Deck Promenade on Revell and Academy. Again, they are similar as far as their overall shapes, but the deck detail is present on Revell and it's not present on Academy. All right, let's go on to the next section. All right, taking a look at the ship's cranes now. You can see that Academy has one giant fret. Overall, the kit has far fewer frets than Revell, which is a little bit more subdivided. But Revell's frets, or Revell's cranes rather, are here. They're basically scaled down versions of the classic Revell 1570 Titanic. They're not very detailed, single piece with the boom. Academy's cranes, on the other hand, they are much more nicely detailed. It's two-piece, so you have the ability here to sort of wash out a few details. Let me zoom that in. There we go. Photo etch would be nicer, but it's better than what Revell's giving you. So yeah, when it comes to cranes, I'm going to go ahead and chalk this one up in Academy's column. All right, moving on now to deckhouse features. This category is a little bit of a wash, where the Academy does some things right, Revell does some things right. Neither one does anything great, but we'll start, I guess, forward and make our way aft. So looking at the officers' quarters and first class entrance, this is Revell, this is Academy. You can see the same part there. The overall shape of Academies is a little bit more accurate, except Revell's grand staircase skylight is accurate, and Academy's is not. I'm not sure where Academy came up with that whole 10-pane design, but that is not true to form. Also, as far as having these protective enclosures around some openings along this section of the ship, that is accurate. Not so on Academy. That's the number 4 funnel housing on Revell. The same section is already... Liner, right? There we go. Oops. Same section is already molded onto Academy's kit. I don't know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I guess. Now, Academy's second class entrance and elevator in the back is wonky. I'm not sure what the Academy was thinking of. It's 2 pieces. There's your base, which is accurate enough, but then the top of it is this square box right here, and it has a bit of an overhang that did not exist on the prototype. Revell's, by contrast, it might be on another fret, but it's accurate, so it's fine. The third class, the number 3 funnel housing here, it's fine. I see no problems with it. Academy, however, totally dropped the ball on that. There's the number 3 funnel housing. Here's where the reciprocating engine room and aft grand staircase go, but there are no pipes connecting the funnel housing to the reciprocator engine housing. It should look like Revell's, so you can see right there how the 2 are connected by pipes. It does not, so boo on Academy for that. Again, the aft grand staircase, it's got a funky number of skylights, so no dice on that. Now, all that said, the middle of the ship featured the raised roof over the first class lounge. You can see that here. And on Academy, the shape is much better than it is on Revell. Specifically here, along the ship's starboard side, you see those 2 like bay window shapes. On Revell, that area is flat, like it was on Olympic, not on Titanic. And I checked, this is not particular to the Olympic kit. It's like that on both their Olympic and Titanic kits. So that shape is not true to form. So honestly, when it comes to the deck houses, I'm going to say it's half of one, half dozen of the other, or 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I should say, because they both do some things kind of funky. So it's a wash when it comes to deck houses. All right, now the first class promenade on a deck. This, I'm really keen on how both companies tried to do this. These are promenade walls. This is the Revell fret I'm holding here, and you can see windows already cut into it. So it's an attempt at adding some detail, which is, let me hold that up closer. There we go, it's nice. Academy did the same thing. And the reason why I'm holding this separate piece right here is to actually give you a side-by-side comparison of the same section of the promenade wall on both kits. So this loose piece here, this is Academy. The fretted piece is Revell. And you can see that Academy's detail is a little bit greater as far as the type of window and the number of windows. Here you can see these have frames. There's not any windows on this section of bulkhead. So all in all, Academy did a nicer job, I think, of detailing up the promenade deck. Now this is just one section because it's easy for comparison, but you could compare, every one of these runs. Revell has their runs in much longer sections, which I can see some modelers liking, other modelers not so much. Academy has broken theirs up into much smaller sections. The other thing to take note of is the height. Let me hold that up right there, if you can see. Academies are in some places significantly taller than Revell's. Now you might think, what's up with that? It's not a scale issue though. On the actual ship, these walls along this middle section of the ship went up through the roof of the promenade, which means they passed through the boat deck, and were partly visible as the walls of the raised roof of the first class smoking lounge. That would go there, and you can see how the windows sort of peek up. Yeah, it's kind of clever. I like how Academy did that. Revell did the same effect by just making the roof a little bit thicker and then having half window detail carved into it. I don't know if you can see that there, molded into it there. So Revell, went for the same effect, but they did it in a different way. I think the details on Academies are a little bit nicer, so when it comes to the windows on the Promenade, I'm going to go with Academy taking this one. Okay, so now for one of Titanic's most distinctive features, her 4 funnels. Academy, which we have here, and I've broken this up a little bit differently. Here's Revell. So these are Academy. Academy has molded the funnels in one piece. So you do not have any kind of seam lines to worry about. However, the funnel tops are a second piece, which you see these 4 ovals here. I don't know if this was to facilitate modeling for younger beginners who don't want to paint, but these are molded in black and they are going to drop down onto their other funnels. Now, the interior detail is nice because you have an uptake and an external side of the funnel. So looking down, that'll look decent, I think. Revell, their funnels are split in half. You can see there, so you have to put glue those 2 together. Creating a seam line has to be cleaned up. Both funnels have plating detail. Let's see if you can see that there. Academy has plating detail and rivet detail. Now, the rivet detail is a little bit exaggerated, so it would certainly benefit from a good sanding, but not too bad. Revell's just has the plating detail. And when it comes to the pipe work along the sides of the funnels, you can see Revell there, Academy, kind of hard to pick up, but there. I think Academies is a little bit nicer. So when it comes to funnels, I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Academy. All right, looking at lifeboats now. Academy, Revell. These are Academies. These are Revell's. You can see there's a clear size difference. Now, Revell put gaps in between their davits, which is accurate. So the shape of Revell's is, they're both really crude, and lifeboats are always going to be sort of the more obvious negative feature of any Titanic kit in 1/700, it seems. But Revell, they tried here. However, by adding in this gap, the gap itself is overscale. And so the lifeboats themselves, the whole run of 4, is significantly longer than that comparable run on Academy. Academy's run is an accurate length. You can see here on Academy's boat deck where the lifeboats are supposed to go inside this rail. And that's a spot-on representation of how far each section of boats needs to go. On Revell's kit, I should have had that handy. Revell's kit, they extend much, much longer, all the way to the number 2 funnel casing. So Academy certainly gets points as far as the scale of the lifeboats. Revell gets points for the detail, but by going to that level of detail, they made them too big. So, one feature that is super weird, though, that I can't quite understand is that Titanic had 20 lifeboats, and Academy includes 18 lifeboats. Yes, so even though the ship famously had too few lifeboats, Academy has given it even fewer than that. It does not have 2 collapsible boats that were included alongside davits 1 and 2. Revell gives you the correct number of lifeboats. They're stacked a little bit funny-like. The way it wants you to put a collapsible over lifeboat 1 and 2 is different from the way it was actually stacked in practice, but at least it gives you 20 boats. All right, taking a look at the masts quickly enough. Academy's mast, they're molded in black. You have some detail for the crane that went behind the foremast. You have, it's a bit overscale, but there's a bell in the crow's nest on the foremast. This little eyelet on the aft section of the main mast, I think, is for attaching rat lines. Revell's masts are a little bit simpler. You still have a crane, but it's less detailed, no bell. The crow's nest is simpler. So all in all, I'm going to go ahead and give the masts to Academy. Okay, looking at the navigating bridge, you have Academy, Revell. Academy has too few windows going across the front. There should be 9 windows. They only give you 7. Revell gives you 9 windows, but they are a little bit too narrow. The shaping, or the scale of the window should be closer to what you see here on Academy, but at least you have the right number here. Also, A-deck details, they're a little bit better here on Revell than Academy. They're a bit overscale here on Academy. You can't see it so much right now, but Academy does not give you a a captain's bridge, whereas you do get one on Revell. So it's a simple little detail, but it's nice. Oh wait, there it is right there. Those are the windows for the navigating bridge on Revell's kit. So you have a bit more interior detail inside the bridge as well. All in all, I'm going to give this point to Revell. All right, so when all is said and done, what does this mean? I tallied up my pros and cons, and I'm giving Revell 7 points and Academy 4. So if you're just looking at a 1-to-1 point ratio, Revell has created a superior product as far as accuracy goes. For ease of assembly, Academy probably is a little bit easier, given the fact that they have produced their material on multicolored frets, which is going to be better for people who aren't quite as experienced with painting. And it has some features which are nicer than Revell's. The masts, the davits, the cranes, the funnels. Revell, on the other hand, has created a slightly more accurate replica regarding minute details. So it's really, I guess, a toss-up. I created this video because there's really a dearth, it seems, of 1/700 scale Titanic reviews out there. Most people prefer the classic Minicraft models 1/350th Titanic model, which, it's a classic for a reason. It's a great kit. As you know, though, I'm a bigger fan of 700 than 350, so I felt like this needed to be put out there. Which would I build? Well, I'm going to build them both, obviously. Academies on its own doesn't really live up to what I would like it to become, so I've purchased Rainbow's photo etch set for this. I'm going to do a more detailed photo review of this on the blog in a little bit with pictures of each fret, but this set really corrects almost every deficiency on the Academy kit. So it's going to involve a lot of work, but it's going to create a significantly more accurate model than even Revell's would be. So that's probably the direction I'm going to go with it. I will do a more specific review of the Olympic model in its own right as the Olympic and not as a Titanic stand-in a short while, as well as that photo etch review for the Rainbow products. In the meantime, I hope this has given you some guidance if you're looking to do a 1/700 scale Titanic as to which direction you should pursue. Please leave any questions or comments in the field below, as well as on the Museum Modeler Facebook page or blog, which I will put links to in the comments, or rather the notes section below. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for watching.